So on my cold call script, I always keep notes at the top of the page just to remind me of like fundamentals of sales. So I'm just going to run you through some of those so it might be helpful. So the first one I've got is answer questions with questions. So whenever someone asks you a question or even they come up with an objection, what you want to do is get into the habit of not just straight up answering them. You might be able to answer them and then also ask a question, but you also always want to finish with a question. Otherwise, you're going to lose complete control of the sales. And the way you can do this is use hypothetical questions. So you could say something like, start the sentence with, if I said X, what would you say to that? Or, what if I said X, what would you say to that? And it's a good way to tee it up. The second one is seek the truth. So the way you want to approach sales calls is not that I want to make this sale, I want to get this meeting. The key thing you want to go for is just like seeking the truth. And the truth in that, can I help this person? Do they have a problem? And if they have an objection, like, I'm not interested, I've got a preferred supplier list, whatever that is, you just want to think like, rather than trying to handle that objection for the sake of the sales call to keep the conversation going, think of it more of like, okay, why is that though? What's the truth around that? And is that objection actually the truth? Are they just using that as like a smokescreen to get me off the call? But you want to try and get into the habit of just seeking the truth of the call. Is it true what they're saying? What's the truth around, if I can actually help them or not? And it will massively change the way you approach calls. Detach yourself emotionally from the outcome as well is so important, and it's very, very difficult to do, especially when you're first starting out, and especially if there's a deal that you want to get over the line. But the more you can practice getting to the mindset of detaching yourself emotionally from the outcome and just focusing on executing the process, everything over here, executing the process properly, your sales calls will massively improve as well. Because there's nothing worse than like a desperate salesman, because it bleeds through in your sales pitch, it bleeds through in how you talk, it bleeds through in terms of how you deal with objections and negotiate prices. Labels, so if anyone's ever read Never Split the Difference, you'd be very aware of this, but if you're struggling to get information out of people, they're being very coy, they're being very vague, you can use labels. So it can be like, it seems like you're feeling this way, or it seems like you're X, it feels like, it sounds like. Using those, and you want to use them sparingly, so use some common sense around that. But using those, it really helps drive the conversation forward and get more information out as well, get people talking, get people to open up. So that's a really good way to build rapport with people, because you're labeling them and you're able to basically show that you are listening and you are actually understanding. But what you can also do is a mislabel. So if you feel like someone's not being truthful with you, you can label them so it seems like X, but intentionally get it wrong to see if they correct you or not. And if they're not telling the truth, what they'll do is often correct you. And it's a really good way to get certain information out of people and get people to open up a bit more about what they're actually feeling. With all the goal as well, we've got to remember with prospecting, you basically want to go for the no as much as possible, right? So you want to try and get those who are going to waste your time off the call. Going for the no is really, really important in sales and prospecting, because so many salespeople waste time trying to force people into meetings, trying to force people into deals. And there's a very famous saying, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And it's so true, and it's very, very true in sales. So focus on going for the no. Mirroring as well, it's very, very basic communication skill that a lot of people know about, but it's really good to have in your back pocket and pull out occasionally, especially with different personality types. So you basically just want to like repeat back the last few words of what they've said to you, or repeat back what they've just said in your own words to again show that you've processed it and you're actually listening. And just lastly as well, I love these, they're called softeners. So for example, if you're going to ask like a very direct question, if you just ask that direct question, then it will come across like potentially offensive, and it might, catch them off guard. You might lose rapport with them, whatever. But if you say, do you mind if I ask a direct question? Or do you mind if I, this might be a stupid question, but do you mind if I ask this? It's a softener. It like softens the start of the sentence, sets the expectation. So as you're getting permission to ask a direct question, when you do ask that direct question, which might not have gone down very well before, it just allows you to stay in rapport with your prospect. So those are the main things that I have notes at the top of my cold call sheet. If you've got anything to add, please put them in the comments below.